are related.
Yeah.
Faith is related. And you had mentioned that your relation, kind of the family tree of it all.
Just like Snoop is related to Brandy and
yeah, I just saw Instagram posted a list of people who are related. I was like, oh shit. Like there's a lot.
Most people in the industry are related.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Isn't that interesting? Bloodlines.
Yeah.
Think about it. Look at Wanye right now with his sons.
Yeah.
I still don't understand why he signed them to marry. I don't get it. The bitch can't read. Why would you trust a contract coming from a bitch that can't read?
You see a lot of shit. It is what it is.
So, I have to ask you then. Because sometimes when you see like, let's say a Puff, you might have a manager who might be an enabler, like to help him get to her, like a R. Kelly, whoever. Then you have their bodyguards or security unit who might allow some things to take place. Might see it and just say,
welcome to the Daily Read, and I am your host, Marcus Gentry. We're back, people. Now, my truck has been broke down for about a month now. And of course, you already know that I'm in my traveling studio. So for the first show, I've been working on this show for a while. The first show back, we're going to do Jaguar, Wright, and Puff Daddy. The title to this show is called Morals and Morality. And we're going to jump right into it. We're going to talk about the whole P. Diddy situation and do a quick outlook on what's going on with that.
Erykah Badu, and you had said that you are related.
Yeah.
Faith is related, and you had mentioned that your relation, kind of the family tree of it all.
Just like Snoop is related to Brandy and
yeah, I just saw Instagram posted a list of people who are related. I was like, oh shit. Like there's a lot.
Most people in the industry are related.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Isn't that interesting? Bloodlines.
Yeah.
Think about it. Look at Wanye right now with his sons.
Yeah.
I still don't understand why he signed them to marry. I don't get it. The bitch can't read. Why would you trust a contract coming from a bitch that can't read?
Put that on pause for a second. Y'all gotta understand something, people. The whole P. Diddy situation, Puffy situation, Sean Combs situation, that whole situation has to do with bloodlines. And going back to the 60s, the 50s, when blacks was entering into a new era of music and allowed to sing in mostly white cabarets, a lot of whites didn't like it, even though they liked the music. So they set up this whole thing where you got some of these people go far back as bloodlines, even though they might not seem related, they are.
Clearly she didn't write it. And if she can't read it, clearly she didn't read it. So who's writing the fucking contract that those kids signed? It ain't her. And guess what? Considering the deal their father signed.
Jack, I want to ask.
Nothing progressive.
I have to say, most people that watch our interviews or your interviews as of late, the main question that comes up is, how does she know? What was she there? So I want to do it like this. I'm gonna name some names.
Sure.
And I want to know, were you around them?
Sure.
I would like to start for what everybody knows is Jay-Z.
What about it?
Were you around him? In what capacity were you around him? Was it strictly? Was it only unplugged?
In my life.
Okay.
Both of them were with Mr. Carter.
I'm gonna stop that right there. I think he's next. And what I mean by that is, I think he's next. If he's not next, he's conducting everything. He's conducting everybody's downfall. Suge Knight, gone. Cash Money, the head of the CEO of Cash Money, which is the baby, he's non-existent anymore. He's just living off his wealth. All the top moguls that you saw in the 80s, most of them are gone. R. Kelly, gone. Let's get back to it.
Erykah Badu, and you had said that you are related.
You got a titties, honey. I got it. Times, whether you liked it or not. Matter. He is the most shameful thing I've ever done. There is nothing that I experienced with that person that has not inspired shame except for Unplugged. In Kendrick's song when he says, I hate when I talk about guns and then someone gets shit and die and it makes me, because we make things happen. So imagine when you take that and you put that to melody and you put that to song that holds you and rocks you. Whatever is embedded in that sound is now embedded in you. It's been proven scientifically. The human mind cannot refuse any information transferred through sound.
Real life. Real life street stars. Know what time it is.
So I was doing my research, I'm going back and I'm listening to Cassie, right? Because it's all out now. And I'm like, when Cassie first came out, they played her single over and over and over, and I kind of liked it, right? At the time. Now, just hear me out. I kind of liked it. But now I go back and I listen to the single, and I'm like, this song really sucks. Now, hearing you sing, Jag, it does something to me, right? It's natural, like how you spoke earlier. It's God's gift. I don't think Cassie had God's gift, right?
No. She had desire.
Okay, so she had desire. So
she had desire, and she is talented. She's just not. She's not Maya.
Right. So what I want to say is, we talked about this.
And not even A. Marie was Maya, and Cassie wasn't even A. Marie. I'm not going to take a shot at her talent or her career, because I don't know what she could have become.
So
she was actually working with a real producer. She was working with Ryan Leslie. He was developing her. Me and You was a start.
Right.
It was.
I'm gonna pause there right there. I'm gonna stop pausing it, but I don't have no sympathy for Cassidy or Young Miami. And the reason why I don't have no sympathy for these women is because they sacrifice their bodies and their minds for money. They put themselves in that situation. And Young Miami was the replacement for Cassie. But you got to remember, Cassie replaced somebody too. So it's a cycle. These women have seen people get hurt in the industry, never said nothing. And now you're seeing blood in the water. Not when it comes to Jaguar Wright, because she been telling the truth about stuff. But all these other players is coming out talking about P. Diddy stories. Y'all was there. Y'all was seeing this. Nobody said anything because the money. Let's get back into it.
The finish, it was a start. If he had been able to keep developing her, who knows what Cassie might have become. But she only got one album, and she got stuck under the diddler, and she never got to grow. So
my question to that, right, is, because back in the day, I was like, this was good. It was.
Cassie was there to piss off J-Lo for leaving.
Okay. So, remember, like a couple interviews ago, we said there's a ritual with the music.
Yeah.
Is that something that
Very much so.
perform with the Cassie track?
Absolutely. Listen to me. Songs are spells. That's what chants means. If you look in French, the word chants, it means song, but it also means a spell. The things that we say, that's why they say you gotta be careful. Life and death resides in the tongue. Everything that we say holds value, it holds weight, and it has the ability to trigger things. That one line, in Kendrick's song when he says, I hate when I talk about guns and then someone gets shot and they die and it makes me, because we make things happen. So imagine if you take that and you put that to melody and you put that to song that holds you and rocks you. Whatever is embedded in that sound is now embedded in you. It's been proven scientifically. The human mind cannot refuse any information transferred through sound. That makes music the most important thing that we have. Now think about all of these records that when you listen to them, you heard them a million times.
I'm gonna stop that right there. Music is not the most important thing we have. Family is. And I debate anybody on that.
Whether you liked it or not. Matter of fact, how many songs did you not like that you ended up liking later? Man, I hated this song. I like this song. They kept playing it. You had no choice but to like it. Programming. What about Mo? What about Mo? I saw I saw that rainwater interview. I gotta take a good look at it. I saw y'all put a new rainwater interview on. I've been hearing a lot of things.
What's your thoughts about
My thoughts is that Mo 3 deserves justice immediately. And the people that say they love him need to start telling the truth so he can get it and his family can get it. I'm sick and tired of seeing people capitalize off of Mo's passing. Period. And his documentary needs to come out. Like if people are gonna do this much fighting over his legacy in the state, then they should really be more interested in fostering the legacy.
What you see?
The public needs to see that. They need it. And they deserve it.
Right.
He has fans, loyal fans, and since he passed away, he's made more fans.
Right.
They need their moment to get to know him better. I just think it's time for people to do better by the legacy of Mo 3 at this point. And maybe I'm speaking out of turn, but that's just how I feel about it.
Yeah, no, I think Eminem had a famous line said, music will alter moods and talk to you.
Yeah.
And I think, what y'all do is great. But Jack, lastly, I have to ask.
I'm so glad Proof proved that for him.
Yeah, I know you about to take it. I know you about to take it there, man. He has a new album out, Jack.
She shot a shot. She shot a shot at Eminem. For years, people felt like he was doing his own music. And I think he does most of his own music. But she shot a shot.
He's trying to sell the album.
Wonder who wrote it.
Shit. Okay.
Wonder who wrote it.
Shit.
I wonder who wrote it.
Who Diddy is a magistrate.
I don't know, maybe it was Drake. His people. I'm sure they're looking for work.
We'll save that conversation.
Ghostwriters.
So, before
we never get the credit we deserve.
Ever. So, lastly, Jack, for those that want to validate
how many
your
Grammys
stories,
I would have won if motherfuckers had to admit what I wrote?
I know you've been in studios. Help, like, hey, let me get your pen together. That's
I love creation, I love art. And I share it with everyone. It's not mine. It's a gift. It came to me from God. To refuse to share it is stuff of law, period. It goes against God.
Yeah.
Now, what people choose to do with what I share with them and what I give to them, if they choose to exploit it or whatever, that don't fall on me, that fall on them.
That's true.
You know, that's part of the reason why they really hate me. Because they're looking at me and they know I'm the greatest. They know it. I know it too. But guess what? You don't see me running around bragging about it. You don't see me running around begging people to acknowledge my greatness. I don't. If you come across my art, or if I share it with you and if it blesses you, that's great. But I never did it for fame. I did it for people. I did it for connection. I did it because that's what I do. God gave me that. The truth is, of all the things that I can do, my artistry is the thing I care the least about, but it's the biggest part of me. They wish they had what I had. They wish, every last one of them. They wish, they hated having to sing before or after me. And I never bragged about it, and I'm still not. I'm just saying, they know what it is, I know what it is. But why they hate me is because if they had my talent, they would have sold their souls immediately so that they could be the number one bitch. And they know all I had to do was play the game and I would have been number one.
I'm gonna stop that right there while she going her rant. The reason why I don't have any sorrow for the Cassidys of the world, these women are opportunists. They fell into a situation where one of these women was getting $500,000 a month. Okay, that's a lot of money, and to have money flowing in your hands like that, and now that everything is dying down, you have to sell your clothes at boutique shops just to make money. You blew a lot of money. One $500,000, I'd never go broke again in my life. This woman was getting $500,000 a month. It's crazy. Now, as far as that incident where the hotel room everybody saw, it was the kick for me. He didn't have to kick her after she was already down. If she stole something from him, and he chased her down and threw her to the ground, took his property back, he didn't have to give her that last kick. But remember, that incident happened years ago. She stuck with him even after that. We got to remember that. Let's get back to it.
Bitch. And I was like imagine wishing that you had something that someone doesn't even give a fuck about. See, that's why these industry bitches hate me. Because I would come to shows in sweatsuits on purpose and have a whole fucking crowd going crazy after they spent $1,500 and 6 hours in the mirror. Wasn't nobody thinking about them. And I showed them in a sweatsuit. See, when you that bitch, you ain't gotta prove you that bitch. Matter of fact, all these bitches talking only proves I'm the bitch. Because who gives a fuck about them? Like that shit that Jill Gould was desperate. I know she begging. Illuminati, please! I'm not too old! I got a second win! My titties are still big! You can fuck those! I don't need it. See, they get a taste of that attention. You know what I mean? And I'm gonna tell you something right now. There is no greater high than feeling 45,000 people screaming love at you. There was no rush. It is very addictive. And you can coast on it for a while. But it's gotta be more about, it's gotta be more than being in that feeling. That dopamine, it's an addiction. I seen motherfuckers tank their fucking family when they fucking should have stayed home and not done that tour because they can't live without that boy. I've seen wives say, please baby, we need to work this out. I see you when I get off tour. And for nothing more than that roar. Because sometimes it really ain't about money. A lot of them niggas be getting jerked. Look at Bad Boy, who got paid. But they was smiling in the pictures though, and they love to be in the videos. I know you see me in the video. Hey, I know you see me in the yeah.
Those videos were nice.
And you still don't pay me no attention.
So Jack, I want to take it home right there.
They didn't pay them bank accounts no attention.
Yeah, I want to
all them bank accounts was ignored.
I want to take it home right there.
$500 and you walk for cheesecake and cheese, all that shit, like,
So,
and you did all of that for a $500 check, and niggas say I'm a crackhead. Are you fucking kidding me?
Don't. They're kids, Jack. But hey, no. So no. To bring this home.
Yeah.
I want to validate for those who just question where you were at during this time.
Yeah.
Can you speak to where you were at or who you were around, and I'm not gonna say a name, but I'm just gonna say bad.
Shouldn't I got shot in the ass in Miami?
Damn.
Cause I was there.
What?
Yeah.
Okay.
I was fighting with Paris Hilton in the bathroom and no good.
Ah, shit. Okay, yes, I wasn't going there, but okay, wait. When Suge Knight got shot in the ass, which we all
I was
remember.
there, yeah. At the MTV, it was MTV's. I was there. I was doing a party on Star Island.
And you and Paris got into a brief
over
altercation.
Scott's torch.
Yeah,
Because I didn't approve of him fucking with her. I thought it was bad. She had him spending. I'm like, this bitch is worth $100 million. Why are you spending all your money? Let this bitch spend some money.
Scott likes to spend though.
Yeah, he on a bunch of used shit.
Yeah.
Like he like everything brand new except for pussy. Never understood that. He paid top dollar.
What do you use?
And the more beat up it is, who the fuck bring a porn star home and expects to be happy?
Hey man. Hey.
Bitch brings her work home with her. Honey, can you please hold this pillow?
Okay.
We're almost, he's about to get the cum shot. Like, are you fucking kidding me? Did you want linguine clams?
Right, oh God.
This is some deep shit. This is why I love Jaguar Wright. This is some deep shit. Let me explain to you. Let me explain to you guys some things about generations. Okay, this is going to be deep. Okay, and this is in relation to what's going on with Puffy. This is in relation to what's going on to Puffy. Puffy is a Gen X. I come from that generation. A lot of 40 and 50 year olds come from that generation. So now I'm finna explain to you how things have gotten so bad in the music industry with these gangs, with these secret organizations, with these family ties. I'm gonna go back to the first generation where all of this started, which was the baby boomers. Okay, the baby boomers. This is how I'm explaining to you so you can understand them. The baby boomers, they was about patriotism. This is what they brought: patriotism, war, family. They had one man, one wife, had like 6 kids. I mean, that's what their generation was. Then you had the hippie generation. Okay, let me explain this, what they brought. The hippie generation, the baby boomers didn't like them. The hippie generation brought you LSD, Jimi Hendrix, pot, marijuana, all kinds of hallucinogenic drugs, acid, and free to do whatever you want to do except for war. That's why the baby boomers hated them. Okay? They hated the hippie generation. After the hippie generation comes Gen X, which is my generation. We brought you crack. We brought you gangs. There was already gangs, but these men were in suits and ties. The mafia. We brought you gangs with the pants sagging, the hats tilted to the left or the right, the colors, the black, the blue and the red. We brought you free sex. Okay? Let me explain to you what free sex means for you people in the cheap seats. In my generation, Generation X, we brought you free sex. We could ride around in the late 80s and the 90s and just see a group of girls hanging out on the block and be like, hey man, what y'all doing? Y'all want to come to the party? They already knew what was going on. These are your 40 and 50-year-old women now. They're grandmothers now. But back then, these were the whores and the thought pockets. We didn't have to pay them nothing. All we had to do was pick them up, take them to the house party, play some cards with them, drink with them, smoke a little weed, and next thing you know, we had an orgy party. Okay? That's Gen X. Millennials started charging you for that. Listen to how this works. The baby boomers was about patriotism and war. The hippie generation brought you the LSD, the weed, love, peace, no war. Gen X brought you gangs, crack, because it was powder cocaine, but we brought you crack. Zombie-like crackheads running around washing your cars, and free sex. The millennials started charging you for it. Okay? The generation after us. Now when you go pick up these girls on the block, say, man, y'all want to come to the party? Shit. What you got? You got some money? They started charging you for it like prostitutes. Okay? Gen Z, they're lost. Gen Z, not only they charge you for the free sex that we gave you, they charge you in regular relationships like they prostitutes. So the progression of things getting worse and worse has been going on in this country. And Jaguar Wright said on one of her interviews, she said that Gen X, which is my generation, messed up the millennials and Gen Z. I don't think so. We did not mess them up. She said we messed them up because we disappeared on them. We did not disappear. We got older and took our debauchery in private. Listen to what I'm saying. We didn't mess them up. We was full of debauchery in the 80s and 90s. Orgy parties, cocaine, selling crack, gangs. We took our debauchery behind closed doors and let the millennials and Gen Z have it. We still got debauchery going on with the Gen X's. We watch porn. We have swinger clubs. But we do it in private. The only way you can find out what we Gen X are doing is if you do something illegal to find it. This is where Puff Daddy comes in effect at. He's a Gen X. He's a part of my generation. And instead of him taking his debauchery in private like we did, he kept throwing these lavish parties with sex parties in every room. It was an incident where they said that he would have people come over and tell one of the girls, Cassie or Young Miami, hey, suck his penis. And they would suck his dick right in front of anybody. Because he was paying these women $500,000 a month. He kept his business in the open. In the open. Which is why he's going through what he's going through now. If you don't think there's Gen X's just like Puff Daddy or Puffy out here in America, people like Jay-Z, people like all the top moguls, they do the same thing. Same thing. But they keep their business in private. Puffy was the only one still throwing these yacht parties, still trying to be Puff Daddy. Let's get back to it.
Erykah Badu, and you had said that you are.
She had him spending. I'm like, this bitch is worth $100 million. Why are you spending all your money? Let this bitch spend some money.
I'm gonna go ahead and say we, as beautiful as your singing is, it's got to be your voice. Because if you never sung again, your voice has reached the heavens. I mean, you're touching millions and millions and millions, and that's something that some people can never even say they're done with their song.
True.
So I mean,
And now, guess what I get to do? Everyone who has been listening, in about 2 months, they'll be able to go to realjag.com and they'll be able to stream all the Jaguar Wright music they want to hear. That's never been released before. That has never been heard. And you won't have to worry about whether or not people are hurt to make it. It's all cruelty-free music. And that is the last thing, our campaign. Odell and I decided to make it a go. We're going to do it. It's up and running, crueltyfreeartistry.org.
Two things, Jack.
Yes.
You will be hopefully singing live somewhere, hopefully. But also Tokyo Tony, we spoke on that.
Yeah.
Y'all saw each other in person. And that possibly can be seen
As soon
as possible
on realjag.com.
And Jack, just the last thing I gotta ask you, for the fans and viewers, I just really want to know, what's the end game?
Cruelty-free artistry. Period. If I have a position to stand on,
She'll never get it. She'll never get it. And the reason why is because it's power involved. It's power involved. It's sneakiness, and power. You see, as long as they can get these artists in a compromising position, whether it's having sex with a prostitute, having sex with somebody's wife, doing drugs, catch them in the studio, beat them up. As long as they can get these artists in a compromising situation, they can control the money. And if they control the money, they control the power. Okay? So she'll never get what she's hoping to get, cruelty-free record. Now, if she does it on her end, she's not going to get the same responses as far as viewership.
all of this pain to create all of this happiness, and no one knows what's really going on. If you knew how Clive Davis used to torture Luther Vandross, it might make you look at some of those Luther Vandross albums a little different. You know, like even when we did One's Gotta Go, I went back and I listened to what I had to say about Prince and Michael Jackson, and I tripled down on that. If it could have spared you being a victim, fuck that music. You know, like, we shouldn't have to naturally expect as artists that we're going to have to be victimized to get ahead. How does something that God gave us that brings so much joy end up in such fucked up shit all the time? I want to be able to look at a young artist and see her grow up and know she never had to have what happened to me happen to her to get a Grammy, to get a sold out tour, to get a movie. That's my end game at this point. Can we make good art without having to hurt someone to do it?
I was in a situation like this where I was with a group of people, and you know, the cruelty factor as far as them spying on you, recording you, and things of that nature, and then I'm gonna fast forward this a little bit, but then want you to be a part of them and suck it up. It's to have something over you. It's a power thing. I refuse to play that game. And I see what Jaguar Wright is saying when it comes to the industry. Okay? And if you're just tuning in, if let me hold it. Let me turn this back on. If you're just tuning in, this is the Daily Read for all my guys listening on iHeartRadio. This is a makeup on Jaguar Wright and Gene Deal. These guys, they're two truth tellers about what's going on in the music industry. And as I said earlier, if you rewind the tape and go back about how each generation added something more tragic to what's going on in America. Let me give you an example of what I mean. A lot of people like my story times because it comes from the heart, and I'm be telling the truth about my life. 13 years old. Now remember, Puff Daddy is a part of my generation. He's a Gen X. At the age of 13, of course, we already knew who all the porn stars was. It was a handful of them. You're looking at Vanessa Del Rio, Angel Kelly, you know, things of that nature, right? Debbie Does Dallas was my first porn tape. Now, this was, of course, I was 13 years old. This was like in the early 80s, late 70s. All right. So as the time progresses, you had a handful of women, a handful now, doing porn. Now you literally have thousands upon thousands of normal women, everyday housewives doing porn, right? So by the time we was 21, we were standing behind Mavericks. It was it's Mavericks now, but back then it was Dodger's Chicken Store. It was a gas station, and we would stand back there and trade Jug magazines. And if all you men that was born in the 70s know what Jug magazines was, it was the women with the big titties. And we would sit on milk crates. We would pay winos to go in the store and buy some Mad Dog 2020, you know, and they would come out and they would have a magazine in their back pocket. We would trade magazine, Playboy magazine, Hustler magazines. And as time progressed, that was 19, 20. As time progressed, we millennials now, not millennials, but we Gen X. As time progressed, we started having orgy parties, and not just in one state. Every state I went to, as a young adult, it was going on with my generation. And I told this story to let you know how the progression of Puff Daddy is not him, it's his generation. Because every generation added something to it. In other words, for you young men and you young women out there listening to this program, that woman you call Glamour, It wasn't no glamour back in the days. You had grandmothers who were fat, blowed out, with no sexual interest whatsoever towards that woman. Because she's 60 years old, 50 years old, she's your grandmother or somebody's grandmother. She cooked hog maws, collard greens, and that's it. The women that are in their 50s and 40s now who are grandmothers, those were our whores back in the days. I'm trying to get you guys to understand how this is going on. Those were the thought pockets. You know, so when you look in the kitchen at your grandmother back in the late 80s and 90s, she was out here hoeing. And not just one man. We had our ass turned up with 4-5 penises in her mouth. And this is the thing that gets me about music. Pimp C said in an interview, he ain't never slept with a woman in front of another man. Now all of a sudden, it's not cool to do it. This is what music, this is what Jaguar Wright is saying, how music and people can influence a nation of people. Because Pimp C is a Gen X. He's passed now. He's gone. Rest in peace, Pimp C. He's a Gen X. But he's a part of that generation. Everybody around him, except for maybe him, was fooling around with multiple women at the same time. But now it's not cool because Pimp C said it. It was nothing for me and a couple of my buddies to be in the bedroom with two women, butt ass naked, everybody, taking turns. This is how music, hip hop, rock and roll, and the industry can influence you. Can influence a whole group of people. And this is what Jaguar Wright is saying about spells and things of that nature.
Erykah Badu, and you had said that
I want to prove it. I don't let myself make it. A lot of people let themselves make it. That's why it's easy to let monsters make it. Because you see something in them that reminds you of yourself.
I disagree. I like what she said, but I disagree. She's not taking into the effect that they're not letting monsters make it. Everybody was involved in this. Understand what I'm trying to say, people. Everybody was involved in this. Not just P. Diddy. Some of his rappers. P. Diddy would have a party. He would got the gay section. He got the straight section. He got the drugs over here. Everybody was involved in this. But now they see blood in the water. Everybody trying to say, man, I ain't got nothing to do with that, man. That dude bad. He bad people. They bogus. And don't get it twisted. This is not me taking up for Sean Combs. That's not what this is. This is letting America know that that generation was full of debauchery. And now that that generation is older, in their 40s, 50s, and 60s, and they got money, and they got positions of power, and they got podcasts, they're trying to clean it up now. They're trying to save face. They're trying to make it look good in front of their kids and grandkids, like they wasn't a part of this. They was all a part of the debauchery. And that's what I'm calling it, debauchery. That's the name of this show. It's called Puffy, King of Debauchery. Alright? Because that's what this is about. It's about debauchery. Wildness. doing whatever. Drugs, sex, rock and roll. All of them was involved in this. Now, later on, I'm going to tell you why he's being singled out. Let's get the Gene deal.
So, to answer your question, I'm sorry about that. My profession first was, like I said, parole officer, then investigator, you know, which it was with the housing projects and stuff like that. Then that bodyguard thing was just me looking after, you know, people that was in our crew and clique.
So is it safe to say that you were familiar with like the music industry of some sort before Puff came to it?
Well, I think that I got involved with the music industry because a guy named Tim Dog. If you know, Tim Dog is not the one who had the that F. Compton thing. Tim Dog was one of the A&Rs for Uptown Records. He went on to be a president of Island Records, the president, I think he was the president of A&R over Arista Records. They was having problems at parties, you know, because dudes in New York didn't think they could wait online. So I became that dude that got a clique together, got a crew together, and we started doing security at the front doors at all the Uptown Record parties, all the parties that Tim Dog, Butt Naked, and different people was giving. You understand? And got whereas that people didn't try to bum rush the door no more. People didn't try to, you know, run up in the parties and, you understand? So I came famous with that.
You more like a problem solver or a problem deflector, I guess, if problems come to the door.
Well, it wasn't just me, it was my team.
The whole team is...
The team was like, I hired 4 officers, and I hired about 8 dudes that was from the streets, you understand, and one cop. And
I don't particularly too much like this guy. He might be a truth teller now, but I believe he's doing this for other reasons. Not just revenge, but I think he's doing this because the spotlight keeps the shadows away. Understand what that means for those that know that know. The spotlight keeps the shadows away. If you get outside of the spotlight, the shadows will consume you. And the best way I can describe that is the DC Madam. I don't know how many of you remember the DC Madam, but she was a white woman that came from California. She was a waitress in California. When she moved to DC, she got involved with prostitution, and she got a team of girls with her that was selling sex to some of the top senators and congressmen in the country. Well, they arrested her. When they arrested her, she threatened to tell the whole world because she kept a black book of all the senators and congressmen, even females, that she had some of her prostitutes mess with. She was the go-to girl. If they wanted sex outside of their marriage, she was the go-to woman. So she was in the spotlight. Nothing happened to her. During her case, the feds allowed her to go down to Florida and stay with her mother while the case was going on. She left the spotlight. Her mother woke up one morning and walked to the barn behind their house and found her daughter, the DC Madam, hung dead. That whole case disappeared. All the senators that was and by me telling you this, I put it back in the spotlight, but it left the spotlight because you didn't even realize this happened. Everybody can know, everybody that's of adult age that can remember, have a good memory, knows the word DC Madam. But nobody can say, hey, what happened to that? Because she died. Everybody try to say it was suicide. Jeffrey Epstein, suicide. He was in prison. He left the spotlight. This is what I think is happening with Gene Deal. This dude knows a lot of stuff. Okay? He knows who's gay. He knows who's on cocaine. He knows who does drugs. He knows who beats their girlfriends, their wives. He knows who got raped. He knows it all. Him and Jaguar Wright are staying inside the spotlight. They ever leave that spotlight and get into the shadows, they might wind up dead. Because they're exposing too much. Cat Williams, same thing. Ain't nobody finna kill Cat Williams because he's in the spotlight. He's a comedian. After he dropped that truth bomb at Shannon Sharp's interview, when he dropped that truth bomb, his life instantly became in danger. But ain't nobody gonna mess with him. They're gonna call him crazy. They're gonna say he's on drugs. They're gonna mess with Shannon Sharp. This is what they do. Let's get back into it.
And had dogs.
When you're putting together a team, what are you looking for inside of a man to like know if he's built for this?
Well, if you hang with us, you built for it. Point blank. We didn't look for guys outside our crew.
So when you were at these parties and, you know, making sure things were going to situations, were there any younger cats that we might recognize today that would ever try to like act like they were better than or try to force their way or push their way past y'all?
That came in the later days, man. You know, that came when dudes would have like 20 or 30 guys with them because they were scared. You understand? But you got to realize when you have certain people that was out there with me, you had Slick, Tima. These guys are known in the street. You know, they're the godfathers, some of the biggest gangsters that you heard of. Alpo, Lou Sims. You understand? They respected them. So now, when I got them working, and they part of the team, and they running the security like that, ain't nobody gonna try that, bro.
So, man, let's get right to it. Then, to be what you were doing in your team, y'all had to have seen some evil shit, like some pretty fucked up shit coming from niggas who money.
Well, you see that from niggas who don't have money also. You know what I'm saying? So you see a lot of shit. It is what it is.
So, you know, I have to ask you, because sometimes when you see like, let's say a Puffy, you might have a manager who might be a neighbor, like to help him get to it, like R. Kelly, whoever. And you have their bodyguards or security unit who might allow some things to take place. Might see it today, we won't just allow it because, you know, hey, it's the essence. What was your mentality when it comes to the neighbors or the people that allow, or just what, you know, how did you approach the situation that you're like, I don't know about that?
I don't know what you mean by that question. That was such a broad and asinine ass question that it's hard to answer something like that.
Let me be more direct.
Let me be direct, bro.
Let me be more direct.
Yeah.
Were you a neighbor, or did you allow or see stuff that you're like, man, I ain't gonna jump in that? Go ahead.
Criminals do crimes with criminals. I've never been a criminal. You understand what I'm saying?
Gotcha.
So now, if you're looking to answer something about Puff, Puff ain't the Puff. Puff had different phases of his life that y'all don't understand.
I'm gonna stop that before he goes into that. Okay? He's right. Sean Combs done had several versions of himself. He's done seen several of those versions. And he's seen other stars that he guarded. The reason I don't like Gene Deal, because he's very crafty with his words. What he said was that, you know, criminals do crimes with criminals. That's a double-edged sword, the words he said, because he's trying to separate himself from the Sean Combs of the world. But you seen the beatings, didn't call the police. You seen the rapes, didn't call the police. But you got police officers on your team. This is the problem I had with people that straddle the fence. Because I was just recently involved in a situation like this. I had a group of people that's in the streets, but they in society as well. They tried to take my life by using street tactics. It didn't work. So then they thought I was going to retaliate, so they put the police on me. I already know these people are watching me, trying to see if I'm going to try to do something to one of these people. This is why I don't like people like this, because he's trying to play the innocent role like he's just security. He got these police officers on his team. Dude, you done seen people get their ass beat as far as a man beating on a woman. You never called the police. You done seen pounds of cocaine being snorted by these people. You ain't called the police. All of that. So now he's out here with these books, trying to make some money selling these books and being a truth teller. He's trying to keep himself in the spotlight. He's what you call a loose end, flapping in the wind. He's a loose end. Let's get back into it.
And let's get down to the nitty-gritty of it. You understand? First you got Puff Daddy, who had Daddy's house and the parties and things like that. Then you had Puff. You understand? Then you had Diddy. Then you had Brother Love, and then Love. I had Puff around the stage when he was Puff Daddy and Puff and some of Diddy. Not the new Diddy that they gave the diddler and everything like that. So he ain't the guy, he wasn't the guy that y'all see now back then when he was in Harlem. You understand? He was the guy that our crew chased down the street because he was trying to be a part of it, and he ran. You understand? We brought him back, beat the shit out of him, hit him in the head with cake spoon and champagne and all that other shit like that. He was wanted to be a part of us. He was the one who used to beg, don't go to the party, please, please, I'm on my way. I'm on my way, so he'd walk in the club with us. You understand? So to answer that question, bro, you're not doing nothing that's going to cost my livelihood. You understand? You're not going to do anything in front of me to cost my livelihood. You understand? Now,